Welcome back to the Copado Architect Corner. Today we're going to be talking about how many Hotfix environments should we have. Welcome back to the Copado Architect Corner. Today we're going to be talking about a Hotfix environment. Now, you may have a great pipeline, a bunch of developers working together, moving their code into a dev int, then they're moving their code into a QA, a UAT, a stage, and a prod. Everything is moving smoothly, and then you identify an issue in production. And you say, let's go back to dev and make the fix. But then as it moves its way through dev, through those things, it could be accumulating other changes. And you go, no, stop. I don't want all those new changes. I just want to fix the bug we found in prod. And I need to fix it really quickly. So in that case, you have what's called a hotfix environment. You'll spin up an environment, make your changes, and push them. The question is, where do you hang that hotfix environment and what do you do after that? So we're going to walk through some scenarios of when to have a hotfix environment and how you might use it. So let's assume I have this pipeline. I've got 3 development teams. Team A over here in the top left with a dev 1, a dev 2, a dev 3. Now I'm using 3 dev environments. That could be indicative of 1, 2, 10, because you might be choosing whether to have your developers in a single box or in multiple boxes. A single box, or they each have their own separate environment. This might even be, some scratch orgs. Their work is going to then migrate to a dev int, to a QA, going to go to a UAT1, and then it's going to work its way, once it passes the approval gates, to stage and goes to production. You might have a team B and they're alternating releases. So team A has a release, then team B, I'm assuming you're doing your proper back deploys. And then we may have a team C that's got a longer release, maybe a 3-month, 6-month release cycle, and their work is accumulated in UAT2. You identify a bug in production. So this is the question of, if you find a bug in production, and let's say it's related to team A, you then, if you were to make the team A and team A dev 1, it would then need to be promoted to dev int, being careful it's not blended with other things that you might not want to accidentally deploy, then go through QA, then go to UAT1, then go to stage, and you need to be scheduling that into a production release. So if you find that this bug is a high priority bug with a low impact, meaning minor fix, low impact, high variability to quick, then you might create a hotfix environment. So if you create a hotfix prod, which could be like a dev or dev pro environment, it could be cloned from the production org, created very quickly, or you could have it pre-established. You could then have it in the pipeline in a very short amount of time and duplicate the bug in hotfix prod. And then once you've successfully validated it, assuming you can successfully validate it in this single environment, you might even need to have a second environment where you have like a hotfix dev going to a hotfix QA, but you might have a pre-hotfix going to this hotfix, but it makes a way to production. Now, a key thing to remember is you have now made a change to the main branch, and you would then need to back promote this hotfix back into the back branches. So you definitely need, if it was related to A, you'd need to back deploy this all the way to A and potentially on a timeline to B. And it would probably be accumulated in stage and in the periodic and scheduled back deploys to C, it would get pulled into C. So this is a singular hotfix straight off of prod. And you may or may not have a single environment, or you may have a hotfix prod dev and a hotfix prod with this one in the pipeline. So this is a singular hotfix directly connected to production. And you need to remember that you need to be back deploying it to the other team's work. Now, some teams might say nothing goes to production until it goes through stage. So you need to vet it. There is no quick hotfix. So in that case, you might have your hotfix stage. So therefore, what you can do is clone it off of main, bring it up into sync, And then what you could do is be validating in hotfix stage, and then release into production. You again might have a second environment to the left of this if you wanted a quick little dev experience where you might have stage dev and stage QA. These might be decisions you make on how you want to sequentially address, validate, and deploy the changes. You still have the need to back deploy on the schedule for C and be planning out the back deploys for A and B. Now, if you follow this same logic, you might have a bug found in UAT1. So the bug has been found in UAT1. Now, you might say it's not off of production. So what I might want to do is why not just have team A, dev 1, be assigned the bug to fix it? The problem is if this is, let's say, one release off of production in UAT, this QA release might be 2 releases ahead. And maybe these developers are even 3 releases ahead. So the challenge you're going to face is if you identify this bug in UAT1, it's a high priority bug, low impact. The challenge is going all the way back to the devs, taking one of the devs. You'd essentially have to re-baseline this dev environment off of UAT1 code. So therefore it was UAT1 and only UAT1. You'd have to make the fix and then realign the dev 1. Or you can have a hotfix UAT1 that could be baselined off of UAT1. You could make the fix, push it into UAT1, validate it, and then send the proper back deploy motions. So a reason is if you have waves of changes, this is prod, this is 1 ahead of prod, this could be 2 ahead of prod, these could be 3 or 4 ahead of prod, then the further you go left to make the change, the higher the possibility you're pulling unintended consequences. So therefore, you might have a need to have a hotfix UAT1. You might see the need for a hotfix. This is not a CQA. This would be like a hotfix AQA. And therefore, the same thing is if Team C found a bug, they could then hotfix it here. So when would you do something like this? You would do something like this if you had big differentials going away from prod, if you needed to fix bugs and had a strict schedule moving between these environments, and maybe this UAT was very time sensitive. You'd secured UAT resources. They were there for a limited amount of time. They had signed off on 90% of your fixes. And by going too far back to the left, you violate, mixing the soup with new changes. So if it was a strictly controlled, highly arranged UAT environment, and you had like a 2-week UAT cycle, and I'm in week 2, I might not want to go all the way back to the devs because of the consequences. So I'm going to evaluate the impact of the change. I might have a hotfix UAT1, make the low impact, high priority change in the hotfix environment, trigger the back deploy. And that same rationale can be effective for UATs. So you can end up with a number of these hotfixes, but they could be light environments, dev pros. They could be spun up quickly, tapped into, utilized, and then shut down when their usefulness is past. So there's no right or wrong answer. There is your local situation where you say, do I have a problem in prod? What are the dangers of going back to the left in the pipeline? Where can I A, find that, start with a clean baseline, identify the problem, correct the problem, validate the correction, and then deploy to production? And what steps does it need to follow through my pipeline? Then you say to that same thing, what if the bug happens in UAT? And as I talked about, it's time sensitive, it's highly impactful, you might need a hotfix of UAT. Then you start sprinkling them, and you could almost have them in the ready to go, or you could be able to spin up a dev environment, stick it in the pipeline, it's a short amount of activity, and then bring it online, address it, and then even shut it down. So these are strategies that the release managers and the dev ops architects should have available and should be planning for this ahead of time. What if we have dev A? What if we have dev B, dev team A, dev team B, dev team C? How do we coordinate? These are the scenarios you should be thinking about early on, plan for them, and get the business and the IT team to buy into it. So just have these strategies in your pocket and figure out which ones are applicable to your situation. So hope this was helpful. So thank you for joining the Copado Architect Corner. May your Hotfix environments always be in your favor. Join us on the YouTube and have a great day.